What is a dry drunk? Hello, welcome to Sobriety Bestie. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what is a dry drunk, what is the dry drunk phenomenon, and how can you get free from being a dry drunk? Welcome, my name is Kirsten and I make videos about feeling good sober. I am 13 years into my sober journey and I would love to have you follow along. So consider liking and subscribing for all the feeling good sober things. So let's dive right in. What is a dry drunk? So to me, this term is derogatory. It is pointing to something real, but it's not real in and of itself. You're not going to go to the doctor and the doctor is going to say, hey, you have dry drunk symptom, and it's an actual medical diagnosis. It's not. It's, to me, it's like slang. It's pointing to something, but it's not actually a thing in and of itself, and it's derogatory. It's shame-based. And it's rude. And I certainly wouldn't call anybody a dry drunk, and I would recommend that you don't as well, right? So, but what is it actually pointing to? Because there is something real right here that is really worth taking a deep dive in, because there's a lot of freedom here. So it's basically essentially pointing to when you stop drinking, but nothing else in your life changed. So you're the same person, but who is just not drinking. Thoughts, behaviors, actions, all of it's the same. So you're continuing the same lifestyle, but you're not drinking. It's also if you're romanticizing a drink, you're thinking about how much you want to drink, or you're missing it, or you're jealous of people who drink seemingly safely and you envy them and you wish that you could drink seemingly safely, but it was never safe for you. So you have these fantasies and romanticizing the drink. Perhaps you resent family and loved ones. You have a lot of resentment going on, or you feel restless, irritable, and discontented. Maybe you're just behaving poorly. It's just bad behavior, or you're emotionally dysregulated. So let's dive a little deeper into what actually might be going on here. So what is this dry drunk phenomenon? It is pointing to something real. So what are those real things that it might be? Number one, unresolved trauma. There's something called the ACE score, so adverse childhood experiences. I'll pop my video up here if you haven't seen it already. It's from 1 to 10. So if you have a higher ACE score, so you've experienced more childhood trauma, you're more likely to drink in a way that leads you to alcohol use disorder. So a lot of us have a lot of childhood trauma and it's unresolved. So that might be what is this so-called dry drunk thing that is being experienced in early sobriety or any phase of our sobriety, right? So number one, unresolved trauma. Number two would be a mood disorder. So maybe we are anxious, we have anxiety, maybe it's generalized anxiety or depression. That leads right into number three, which is super related, is a mental health condition, something that's going on with our mental health, whether it's diagnosed or undiagnosed. This is pointing to what this so-called dry drunk thing is. It's pointing to something deeper. And number four, neurodivergence. Maybe we have different neurology, a different neurotype. We're not neurotypical. So if we're neurodivergent, we might be more emotionally dysregulated than somebody who's not. We may be more prone to stress. We may be more triggered by certain different things. We have different nervous systems if we're neurodivergent. That could be things like ADHD or autism. So that could be explaining some of what's going on when we first get sober, or this so-called dry drunk thing. There's a lot of different reasons and things that it could be pointing to. And number five, it could be a lack of skill, no skill, low skill, and actually navigating emotions and stress. A lot of us are super disconnected from our internal world. That's what alcohol did for a lot of us. It numbed out our internal world. It was great for that, right? It was great at regulating our mood, regulating our stress, regulating our anxiety. So when we don't have alcohol anymore, we're dysregulated. We don't have that ability to be with ourselves and to manage and cope with that stress. If this is you, and it's a lot of us, I have something coming for you in about a minute that I'll point you to. So now let's look at freedom from this dry drunk phenomenon, whether you are feeling like you are acting as a dry drunk yourself or behaving as a dry drunk, which we know is like a mislabel. It's like a little bit confusing. That's not actually what's happening, right? Because it's not actually a thing. Or somebody else that you love, is a loved one, is behaving in this so-called dry drunk kind of a way. How can you actually get free? What can you actually do? So for a lot of us, alcohol is the solution. There's something already going on in our internal world. Now, not everybody, right? We're all different, but a lot of us were motivated to drink in the first place because we felt uncomfortable in our skin. There was something going on. We didn't fit in. We were anxious. We already had these mood disorders or these mental health conditions or this neurodivergence or whatever it is. We already had something going on, or the unresolved trauma, right? And then the alcohol medicated it. So alcohol was the solution for whatever was already going on. So we need a new solution now that we don't have alcohol, right? If we're going to do this sobriety journey. So what's the new solution? I'm going to talk about an in the moment solution, immediate term solution, and like a longer term solution. So what we can do in the moment is we need a new paradigm for how to navigate our inner world, how we relate to our inner world. We're no longer using alcohol to mask how we feel, to numb how we feel, to cover up how we feel. So what are we going to do when we're stressed out, when we have an emotion, when we have anxiety? What are we going to do now that we're not drinking? The new paradigm, instead instead of numbing out is to go into, like literally to use our consciousness to notice what is arising inside of our body. Where is the discomfort? Where do I notice it? So instead of feeling angry or upset or guilty or shameful or whatever and wanting to check out with alcohol or something, check in with our consciousness. Where do I feel that right now? Like for me, when I have grief, I feel it in my throat. I feel it in my heart. Fear, I can feel in my belly. I can feel anger in my chest. Like, so where do you feel it? Where are the sensations that are all these things that we used to be like intolerable, right? So if you're feeling restless, where are you feeling restless? Bring your consciousness into it. If you're feeling irritable, where is it? Going into the sensations with our consciousness is a way that we can actually get through it instead of avoiding it as we go through it, and it actually transmutes it. That probably sounds weird, but it's actually how trauma is resolved. So if what you're experiencing is actually like the past, is something from your past that can be healed, that is a way to heal it. It's not the only way. It might not be the way that works for you right now, or the way that you prefer, or a way that you ever want to do. But when we close our eyes, and this is like literally I close my eyes, and I bring my mind into my body, and I just notice where the emotion is. Where is the stress? Where is the emotion? Where are the sensations? What do I feel? What do I notice? And if you can't feel anything because you're really numbed out, that's fine. Just try it, check. Maybe you don't notice, maybe you do. It took me a while to thaw out in sobriety. You know, slowly over time, I was having these new emotions and these new feelings. Like I remember at 6 months sober, I was walking down the street and I was like, is this joy? Like, is this joy that I'm feeling right now? Because I hadn't felt joy in so long. You know, I had been just like numbed out drunk, right? And so it's like we slowly start to unthaw, but being with our sensations in the moment with our consciousness is a great way out, a great way to heal. And I'd be happy to guide you through that if you come over to sobrietybestie.com/roadmap. I have a roadmap there that will do that exactly, that it guides you into your sensations so you can resolve anything that needs to be resolved. That'll help you to resolve it. So for freedom from this dry drunk thing, number one is that's what you do in the moment. You go into the sensations with your consciousness. Number two is in the short term, right? So this would be a great time to get a diagnosis, to go see somebody, to go to therapy, to go to a medical doctor, to have somebody check you out, to be screened for different things, to find out what was under your drinking, like what's actually going on. What do the professionals actually say? The people who are do this for a living, can they spot something in you that can help you out and help you get into the right treatment or the right help for whatever was co-occurring? Like if you have a dual diagnosis, right? You have alcohol use disorder and something else, which a lot of us have. So getting medical and professional help if you're able to do so, that would be something that you can do in the short term to get a little more clear on what's going on with you so you can get the right medication or treatment or support to actually handle that and navigate that. Number three for freedom from this so-called dry drunk thing is having a long-term vision. So what is your vision? What is your life philosophy? How are you looking at life? What is life about to you? So my life philosophy when I got sober, because I almost died from alcohol, my really what I felt like was I was given a second shot at life. That was my life philosophy. And then my vision was I wanted to do something meaningful with it. I wanted to give back. I wanted to help people. I wanted my life to matter. I wanted to live. I wanted to come alive. So this is how I was thinking about life. It was like, I've been given this second shot at life and I want to make the most of it. So what does that look like? What does my heart want? What does my spirit want? How do I find out what my heart wants? How do I find out what my spirit wants? What makes me naturally come alive? What lights me up? Like what makes this life like beam out of my body? So I was on the journey of finding out like what naturally brings me joy and how do I do more of that. So that became like my long-term vision was like, I want to be me. I want to do what naturally is vibrant for me, right? And so I really wanted to use this second shot at life. And so in that life philosophy that I adopted, so I'm encouraging you to develop a positive vision for yourself, like a life philosophy of like what you want your life to be about. But for me, it was like to be courageous because I felt like I was literally afraid of everything. I was afraid to leave the house. I was afraid to drive on the freeway. I was afraid of public speaking. Certainly wouldn't have made a video, when I got sober in 2009. And so I committed to courage. I was like, well, if I want to come alive, that means I'm going to have to do things that scare me and expand my comfort zone. So I'm committing to courage. That was part of my life philosophy. So what is your life philosophy? What is a compelling vision that will help move you forward, that will help you anchor into courage? Is it about family? Is it about relationships? Is it about business? Is it about, spirituality? So what is this compelling vision that will help you have something to move forward to you? So you know how to get free in the moment by being with your emotions as they arise, you have professional support and help to help you figure out what may else be going on under the hood, right? This so-called dry drunk thing that's actually maybe an undiagnosed condition or something that you can get adequate support for. And then 3, what is your compelling vision for your future? So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. That will help the channel out and get it to more people. And wherever you're at in your journey, I wish you much peace and much freedom. I also want to let you know that I have 2 playlists that you might be vibing with if you're into this one, which is there is one on getting sober. So there's a lot of videos in there that might be helpful for you, and also one on early sobriety. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.